start the recording here. There we go. We talk about this all the time, right? We talk about the completion of the M and W shapes, the 4 and the 5-point wave structures. We had a 5-point wave structure complete here at the mark of the 886. If I was to go and do that, and the whole reason I've got this 886 is because I would have discussed it in a previous stream sometime. Let's do this. That is a Deep Gartley 0.886. There. So you look at the price action correlation once you hit that wave structure. I mean, you can look at it here, you can look at it here. It's going to be the same thing, right? Now this one's a bit more skewed because obviously you didn't quite hit the 886 in this one, but you did hit the 2.618, right? Remember the PRZs between your extension here, your overall extension here, so on and so forth. So over here you had the 886. That's that white line in the sand, and then you just look at the price action around it. Over time, did you base around it? Yes, you did. What kind of structure did you get when you get to the lows? Very clear smiley face, right? Sign of there's a spring back test, or the smiley face as I like to call it. In fact, on a low enough time frame, that looks to be, if I'm not mistaken, some sort of shark. And it's a bit skewed. That's a bit way too extended, but you don't need to look for M shapes like right over here. The fact of the matter is the general structure for oil was already bullish over here, right? And we definitely talked about this M shape in a previous stream, but since then we can just see how price actions developed. Smiley face, like we talked about, bullish divergence, right? You've got the lower low in price but the high low in RSI for the raid, right? Remember, for the raid you always want to see some sort of bullish divergence accompanying it. On the daily, bullish divergence. On the 3-day, bullish divergence. On the weekly, lower low in price, higher low in RSI. That is bullish divergence. And then following the bullish divergence, right? And then the reclaim of key level, there is your back test confirming the 86 as actual support. And again, that is after the smiley face is completed. So once the smiley face, the cumulative structure got done, then you back tested that key area. Once you're above that, it's very simple, right? If you're going to buy this asset, you're simply saying if this area is lost, you have no reason to hold it, because all the arguments I just described, the accumulative structure, right? The smiley face around a key level, the 886, the Deep Gartley 886 wake structure completion, all of that goes out the window if this is resistance, right? But now that you have actual price action correlation around your levels, that price action is the make it or break it for your trade. As long as the price action base is now respected, you're looking for higher. So we can't be surprised that that is what oil gave us. Right, you see this time and time again. How many plays have I given you guys now where it's a completed M shape, you see a cumulative structure, you see a smiley face or a W structure, right? Or it's an inverted smiley following a W structure, and then that leads to the ultimate breakdown. Like once you see enough of these, you'll see, especially on the macro, these are just very, very potent, simply because of what it represents in terms of price action analysis, right? But yeah, oil, since then it's been going up. I mean, you've way crossed the 1.618, right? Way crossed it. Hang on. From that high all the way to that low. I fathom you probably hit around the 2.618 area, I think. Hang on, let's just put some extensions on. Yeah, just about right, 2.618. Liquidity rate. Well, I mean, the actual next primary set of projections after 1.618, they were hit basically. So, but a current look at oil, right? Obviously, there's nothing bearish about this. On the higher time frame basis, you look at it on the weekly, you look at it on the monthly. In terms of structure, what we do have, of course, is this wick now, right? The wick development, that is what we're going to have to pay attention to. So now let's do that, right? Let me just turn all of this off. There, and we look at it with a fresh chart. Let me just see how many people have joined. People are joining in. Welcome, guys. So let's take a look at it in terms of the yearly first and foremost. I mean, as good as this looks, the level that we need to get above on oil is around $100 right now, just off the top of my head, and you can see why, right? So as long as we don't get above 100, there's still a little bit of hope that, you know, we aren't going to go and make this whole thing support, as you can see, because if you're bullish on risk on assets right now, basically you do not want this to, like, start turning, let's say 96.05 at a minimum into support, because a bullish oil is never good on for risk on markets at that moment. It's typically after a few months of oil cooling off, after it's having a big move up, that you see that rotation back into risk on markets in terms of liquidity, right? So we don't want this to be bullish if you want an immediate move up on your risk on assets right now. But on the yearly, I wish TradingView did like 2-year charts and stuff. That'd be kind of sick. 1, 2, and I'll put one more down for the love of the game right over here. Don't need any more apart from that. There we go. Right. So all of this area 96 to 98 is very, very important. We need to be above that first and foremost. You get above that, the main thing for you to break in terms of historical confluence is this, because this is what gives you major range of resistance. Every time you try to break above, you fail, right? So that 104 to 106 area is going to be key, because above that is a rocket to 114. Above that, I don't even think you'd stop at 121. I think you'd just go straight for taking this one out minimum, right? So your main one is right over here, 104 to 106. How would you react at that area? I mean, we've already hit 114, right? We can see it's a nasty rejection for now, but can buyers come in, step in, and start grinding this higher, right? Like this, maybe get one more wick fill before we really break down, or is this it? We have to see. And again, if you're bullish risk on assets, you would hope this is it, and then we start getting a cool off period on oil, right? That we see some liquidity flow back into the risk on markets. But right now, as we speak, we're sort of just range bound. Like if you're wondering where your range is locally speaking, your range is here. Right, you can see that you're just range bound. So let's see, you break down from this range, you're going to go grab liquidity to the downside. Liquidity is all the way down over here. Right, I'd expect to visit back towards 80 slowly if we did lose that range low. But for now, yeah, let's just see what happens. You had a cumulative structure here before, smiley face, that sent you up. So a retest of that smiley face would be completely fine to see, okay, here's a next base of support. Can we blast off from that if we lose this range lows on oil? If we don't, then we're just range bound until one side gives out. You know how ranges work. There's liquidity to be taken here. There's liquidity to be taken here, right? Like the bulk of the move's done. Now it's just going to be like a liquidity game. Where is liquidity sat? Currently, it's both sides. Locally speaking, it's both sides. But you don't want bullish oil if you want your risk on assets to keep popping off. So yeah, if you're trying to get some juicy returns on your risk on assets, not shorting them but rather looking for longs, then you would hope this does break down and carry on going to the downside. Bearish shark, let's take a look. What time frame were you looking at? Let's see. Oh, it's the other macro, so I'm just gonna ping it from the macro first. $1.618. I mean, that's juicy. One sec. There we go. From 2022 high. Yeah, from that one. Okay. One of them definitely has the 1.618. If I was to draw out a PRZ, I would look at it like this. One sec. Oh, wait, no, not like that. Like this. This is the Shark 1.618, and then let's just see if we can ping the 886 as well. Just about front ran that PRZ, right? There it is. If we went further up to hit this would be insane. That would be an insane W shape hit. Like if we were to fully fill this, they've been cheeky though. In terms of like actual ticks, they've just front ran that 1.618, as you can see. If we're going like super accurate. But yeah, no, that's a good point, bro. That is a shark. Maybe like a 5-0 sort of scenario before we have a next leg up, right? Always look for a 5-0 with sharks if we can. Now, I'm sure if I dragged this down, that is 886 from this peak over here. But from this external peak here, we haven't quite hit it yet. Yeah. Yeah, bro, you're right. We're front trying to buy a few dollars. Okay. Gapped up here. So in terms of gaps, we have one down over here for oil. So I'll leave that for a future fill. I'll fill at some point in the future, I'm sure. But yeah, funny to think, all kick-started by, once again, just a simple M shape down over here. M shape to a smiley face, right? With two weekly bullish divergence. 3 simple things. You don't need much. You just need good confluence with just extraordinary amounts of price action analysis to back that up, to take a sizable bet on any type of trade you take. But yeah, okay, so that's oil. TLDR, as long as you're over the 1.618, I can't be bearish, right? You're literally above the primary extension of the wave structure using a support. Furthermore, as long as we are above range lows of this 4-hour structure, locally speaking, I can't also be bearish. But you are rejecting for now your higher time frame yearly levels, as you can see right over here. In fact, I could probably go and mark them down, but I won't. I'll do some point in the future. But these are all yearly levels, right? 1, 2, and 3. Just mark those down. The level we really don't want to flip into support is this 104, 106 to 114. This zone cannot flip into support. For now, we haven't. If we ever go and flip that into support, or it's going to have a nasty move up, and that's what you don't want, right? So that's the zone I'd really watch here. You know, if sellers can keep keeping the price below this, amazing. They're going to keep pushing it down to 80. Like it's just what it is, right? Supply and demand. But I don't think if we are truly bullish, the buyers aren't going to let the sellers just hoard supply at this area, right? They will take that supply off the market to push this higher. So yeah, but if you want a more local read about, oh, could we get a potential nice spike up on the market, so on and so forth, I'll just see what oil does on the 4 hours. If we break down from this channel and get this nasty dump, right, and indices manages to hold this shit together while that's happening, then risk on assets probably gets a nice little green injection. That's what I take away from this right now. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Right. Now, do you have any other questions on this, Ichigo, bro, on oil? I've not busted out the diagonals and stuff, but this should be enough for now to really get a gauge of what we're actually trying to look at from this. No problem, bro. Okay, before we move on, one thing I really want to move on to is, of course, because I know a few of you guys took this, my baby's up 19% post-market, $58, $59.05, new all-time highs on XD. One sec, that's the old one. Let me show you what it means to be diamond hands. Go. This one is, I don't know why my trading view is acting up, one sec. But this one has been, the yearly candle for this is ridiculous. Just a straight green pop up. So, here, okay. It's been an absolutely insane move up. Where's the stocks chart? There. My handwriting is so shit when I type fast. Daily. There we go. This was an absolutely insane play. And the actual reason for this, and this is one reason why, like, you know, when it parks size, one reason why stocks is so nice, and I said this a couple of times on stream, right, is that with stocks, I feel like it's much easier to quantify the fundamentals, right? Which is something I never really do in crypto, is look at the fundamentals of a project. I'm not really like the fundamental type when it comes to crypto, right? Because I'm not sure 100% what I need to be looking at. Am I looking at, like, you know, the float? Am I looking at the token distribution, the emissions of the tokens, like, you know, what price did the VCs buy it? There's so much shit to consider. What are they doing? How active their socials, so on and so forth. Right? I've got a really good friend who's really good with fundamentals of crypto. His name is Redder. He's in this server. Some of you guys know him, some of you don't. He's really good with fundamentals, right? If I need fundamental help, he's the guy I go to. But with stocks, it's so much simpler. The fundamental reason I call this, right, was because AXT is one of the only companies in the world that mines something called indium, right, which you need. You really need that to make chips, to put into a semiconductor, so on and so forth. And there's no one in the US that produces it, and very few companies produce it around the world. AXT, I'm pretty sure, is one of the only companies that does it. So when you see something like that, right, and then you consider its chart, and you see, okay, for years, this has just been going sideways. Even though it's been going sideways and it looks like, oh, well, it's not really going up, it's not going down. Same reason why I gave you guys many crypto lows over the last few years, right? And then you consider the fundamentals for it, and then you see, okay, there's life in this chart. We have a yearly just bullish engulfing candle all the way to the top, right? And then you see that, okay, you know, we've had a breakout from, you know, important levels. Is the TA after that is just, how are you going to plan your entry? Right, the fundamental reason behind why I gave this was because of what indium was, and I went over that in the stream after I gave this one. But yeah, it's just nice to see for once, not just like a TA reason behind why to get into something. Right, fundamentally speaking, this is sound, and now it's in price discovery. Lord knows how high it's gonna go. So I'm just gonna keep watching as it rips. I know a few of you guys are in this, right, which is why I keep updating this every stream. But yeah, this one was a cook. XT long and lemonade short. Right, that was the lemonade short, and now it's if you put a high low in, I'm just going to get back into a long for this again, or just buy spot. Right, just whatever profits you make from the short, just rotate back into a spot, because at the end of the day, like I said, full consolidation range was hit on lemonade. So you know, all we're looking for now is very simple, right? If you can flip this into support, what happens every time there's support, you know, you break back, you may probably make a short towards this channel. That's what we're saying, right? So it's very easy to see, but the trend right now, locally speaking, something like the daily, is to the downside. So if you do see lower high coming in, you also have another opportunity on this to join that momentum back to the downside, possibly, right? Because the higher time frame hasn't broken bullish yet. But yeah, XD, it's just nice to see this. I didn't realize this had popped up today. One of my boys who got in with me, I was on a Discord call, and was like, bro, you seen XD? I was like, oh, what's going on with it? And I checked it, I was like, holy shit, 20% post-market, right? Not pre-market, sorry, post-market. But yeah, let's see. I'm excited to see how this opens tomorrow. Can we keep the momentum going? Our seller's going to absolutely flush this back to the downside. Let's take a look. But now, look, where's support? Easy, 49 to 46, right? Your 2001 high, and then your all-time high from previous years. As long as you're using that as support, that's lovely. If this now ever goes up, God knows how high it can go, right? But whenever this now comes in, your next job is to see, first state of affairs, do we ever get to flip this into support? Now you've got loads of POIs within this zone, right? So think about it like this. I'm just going to draw one box for you. There you go. That area right there. It does not matter if you missed this move up, right? It doesn't, because especially if now you trade this as CFD and not just a stock, which is what I've done, right? This is leveraged. This isn't pure spot. This is using leverage. If you trade it using that, then these are all areas where, what's your first thought? Your first thought is, let's see if the buyers can defend it on any sort of potential retest. Because what was once supply for 3 years straight, if it can flip into support, we're looking for further move up. Right, simple playbook, but very effective. And within that zone, these are the levels. You lose this, here's your level. You lose this, here's your level. Right, liquidity rate to this level, you start moving up and turning this into resistance. That's when you look for potential short entries to then go to lower areas. Because we know below this, well, look what happens on the yearly. It's back all the way down, here you go. Right. So you start turning any of these, like 41, 48, all of this into resistance, especially this, right? 41, 40, we know how important the mids are. That turns to resistance. There's a very, very clear chance, if the low's not held after that, that you go back down all the way to $17 again. And if it goes back there, you best believe I'll pick some more up based on current market thesis, right? Just do bit by bit. But hang on, I'm actually curious to see what this looks like. So I'm going to go on AXT. What the hell have they done this year? Are you going to give me the yearly data? Come on. Let me go back to the 4 hours or something. One sec. Okay, look, oh my god, insane. Okay, let me do this, guys. So for the yearly, we do not need just one tick. Let me take this to 1,000. Come on, switch. Okay, all I'm interested in is insane. I want you guys to look at this. Last year, 4,488,243 contracts. This year, 6 million. Bear in mind, 2026, we're in the 3rd month, we're in March. This is what was traded the entirety of the yearly candles, right? In 2024, only 2 million traded the entire year. In 2025, only, this is the overall delta, right? If you're talking actual volume is here. So overall volume, only 18.52 million. And then 33.9 million. But take a look, just in less than 3 months, you've made more. In fact, yeah, you made literally, basically, if you take away them 5, 2 and the 9, 33 plus 18. Right? You've nearly made this summation of the last 2 years in less than 3 months. With insanely bullish. This is bullish as hell, right? This is insanely bullish. Where's your point of control? That's one. Point of control is $25. So you already know what's going to be an important level for us, right? $25 straight up. And I want to see if that changes. If I decrease this rather to 100. 2150, okay, that's why, you know, resolution is so important. So you can see why I'm talking about that $20 level, right, on this asset. If we get towards that $20 level, it's an insane opportunity to buy this asset. $21.35, yeah, I don't need to go lower than this. Is this gonna crash? Yeah, okay, just give me 10. Okay, yeah, so let's say 21.35 for now. If I'm ever going to buy more spot of this, it's going to be all the way down over here. Right? There's nothing to do here now apart from just wait till you see weakness, take profits. That's it. But yeah, an insane move up. Okay, let's go back. Let's get rid of this one. Just minimize that over there in the corner. Right. NIO. Right, we've talked about this one loads. Nice move up so far off that red box, right? If you do have M-shape completion, that's that white one I've got marked down over there. Smiley face off the M-shape, diagonals, the whole lot. And a potential trend shift back on the weekly. The last lower high that left the low taken out. So if NIO can give us a pullback and perhaps retest an area like this, $5.47, right? Something like that. You know, I'd be looking for bid opportunities on this, right? Because there's no guarantees we're going to smiley face all the way down over here. That'd be nice in terms of structure, but there's no guarantees we're going to do that before coming higher. So NIO looks good, Rivian looks good, right? I think I'll just look at the structure. I'm still in Rivian, right? Because I did not sell at this peak because this is not the move I wanted. This is not the extent of the move I wanted, right? Now, will that come to bite me in the ass? Who knows? We'll have to see. But with higher time frame plays, I've got all the patience in the world, right? I will wait as long as it takes for a plus setup like this to play out. I am in no rush. I know the market will give it to me when it's ready. So I'm in no rush. I'm not checking my port every day, shit like this. But Rivian, I still think it looks good. Rivian looks good, right? XPEV, another one we were talking about, I still think this looks good as well. I know Jasper was asking about this one a lot too, but I still think XPEV looks good on as a whole, right? You know, you've rated the literal lows. Just look at it in terms of TA, right? Here it is. If you were to just take this as your initial consolidation, what the hell have I done? One sec. There. That's a raid, right? So as long as you are now above this general area, 1780 to 1710, as long as you're not below this, you're back within the range. And so, you know, you range maybe for the next target, you get above that range high, and this time, who knows, you might actually break out now that you've taken all that liquidity, right? Liquidity's been taken. Lower low in price, let's see, no matter how small. Nothing on the weekly. 3 day, is there anything? Higher high in RSI is there, but it's subtle, but it's there, right? Low low in price, definitely high low in RSI, yeah. So the bullish divergence was there, right? And again on the daily, the last lower high that led to the low low taken out. We just need a high low to come in for this to go higher. So some EV stocks like, you know, NIO, Rivian, XPEV, they still look good, right? They still look good. Don't get it twisted, they still look good. So, you know, if you miss something like XT, obviously I can understand, like, you know, when you see something and you're not in and you see it run, it can be painful, but there's loads of opportunities still. There's loads, right? This one I'll go over as well, because this one I pinged you guys to see if you could see anything interesting in it. I can explain it in a minute what I was looking at. But yeah, NIO, Rivian, XPEV, just keep an eye on them, guys. These are the same stock. NIO, we already caught more than a 2x, right? Don't forget the original entry for this for you guys was here. I'm still in that position. It's still up about like 60%, 50% from this entry. Rivian, right? So yeah, all of these, I still think, just look at the macro, it looks good. There is nothing better. Literally, this is a scenario I talked about many times. I said you could go all the way up here and go all the way back down and we'd still be fine. Because the composite man is still putting on the high low in for now. That trend line is still being held, right? Accumulation is still underway. I want to see this guy at like 25-30, bro. That's when I consider taking some profits. Not measly profits when it hasn't even, like, you know, hit 23 yet. Like obvious liquidity pools hasn't hit none of that yet. So I don't care how long it takes. Rivian, I'm holding, just adding, making my bag bigger. That's it, right? Okay, so let's take a look. NAUT, yeah, we can look at those, bro. Sure, we can look at those. I'll quickly look at Bitcoin as well. One sec, guys. So let's flip over to crypto real quick. Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, and then maybe just those three should be fine for now. And then after that, actually Tau as well. Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, Tau. Let's look at those four real quick, and then I'll flip over and look at those stocks that my bro Rice put onto the chat. Right, so BTC first and foremost. This is what I mean. Remember, bro, last week I've been on stream. I told you guys I'm doing absolutely nothing in this range because there's nothing to do. I'm either gonna wait for something like this to hit, or I'm gonna wait for the lower and then decide if I'm gonna take a trade. Right? You can see why I told you guys that last time I streamed. Right? Because this is what I mean. Liquidity is the name of the game. There was no liquidity. There was no obvious liquidity. No obvious edge when we did the stream last week. There wasn't, which is why I was saying unless this hits and I see clear rejection, right, or we take the lows out first, there's no obvious long to be had, right? There wasn't, and then we, you know, hit the 75. If it'd gone above, it'd have been the 77. If it'd gone above, it's about the 79. So that's that. Right, so we've hit that. I still think one more drive high is possible on this, right? But yeah, let's see. That could, before we know, that could be the top, and then, you know, locally speaking, and we could get the next flush down that takes us to our 58, and then that 58 tap could then send us towards 80, right? Messed up the high side, go mess up the low sides, and then go higher. It's a classic playbook. They could do it, right? So but yeah, this is the reason I told you guys I'm doing absolutely nothing. Right? Last time we streamed is because of, you know, unless we either take this or take the lows out, saying when we were here, I'm doing absolutely nothing. Yeah, we're literally right over here in this candle. You can see how much of a dead market it is, bro. We're talking weeklies, and look at the range we've been in. Absolutely boring, right? Insanely boring market. But yeah, there's FEG right above us. I do have a feeling they'll wick into that at some point. But yeah, let's see. Right, let's see. And the thing here is, if I go to BTC Binance, oh shit, one sec. Change the input size. What the hell? Oh wait, no, it's still XT. I thought it went to, come on, bro. Row size too large. For the daily, okay. There we go. Right, so we have gone into buy side imbalance from the past, trying to dig into it. In what world has BTC all of a sudden got so much resolution? Are we alright? Jesus Christ. Okay, let's take a look. What's happening? So, buy side imbalance starting to get filled, right? Obvious target. This is lost. We have 67.66, but if this is not lost, then this could lead to a very nice bounce because that's a daily backfill. We took out the sell side imbalance first, take out the buy side imbalance. I would love for both of them to get filled just so there's no inefficiencies, but you know, there's no telling if it will or not, right? On the daily, we are getting aggressive selling. Aggressive selling is being rewarded. However, we do also have our POC below us, right? So now if anyone wants to take a shot at Bitcoin, do so with that POC to this area in mind, because if that POC to that low is lost, and we're talking about a $600 range here between the POC and this, if that is lost, then that's a big drop, right? That's a nearly $1,600 drop towards the next target, and that drop will come very, very fast. But all in all, just Bitcoin just it's boring. There's nothing exciting about this price action. Anyone looking at this saying it's exciting is lying to you, bro. There's nothing exciting about this unless you're chasing 3-minute candles. And I promise you guys, no one's putting serious money in the 3-minute candles, right? Yeah, let's watch, see what happens, right? We have, let's take a look. I mean, the obvious support here is very clearly this, locally speaking, and you know, you're below that. So what do you want? Below this, the obvious thing to look at would be this. Here is your range, right? Yeah, range mid makes sense, right? Makes sense why the buy stepped in here. Another reason, you're just above your range mid, you're front running it right now. So if the range mid is held, then you have a shot up towards the highs, and then you need to reclaim that into support. If you don't, then you risk doing this, right? Something like this, perhaps. But yeah, just boring. Nothing much here on Bitcoin. Ethereum, similar thing, but Ethereum actually looks better than Bitcoin in the sense that Bitcoin's lost that support we were talking about. Ethereum is at it currently. In fact, you can just do this for Ethereum. So ETH genuinely looks better than Bitcoin in terms of TA right now. Not even kidding you. It does. Don't forget, Ethereum has also completed a what? An M shape, right? So we go here, we go to that high, we go to this low, to that lower high there. That is an 886. 3.0886. Here, look. So here is your 3.0. Let me just get a nice little PRZ going here for you guys. One sec. There, so there's your 3.0. And I know obviously that's a bit deep for a bat, but who cares, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. The macro 886 has been hit. That's what's important here. Here, settings, Control V. I'm just going to say 3.0 extension. And then we have the 886 literally right over here. Come on. It's pretty much at the same area, but I like to be accurate where I can. So that's your bat 0.886. There. So you can see why is that area so important. It's because an M shape has been completed. And remember, an M shape completion is not enough on its own. You want price action correlation to that area. But if you have M shape complete, we see obvious buyer reaction, we see ranging, buyers reconfirming that to be support. In fact, from the looks of things, that is, I think, a bit too deep to be a 618. I mean, no, that's a 618. So you were hit with a deep Gartley. Not only were you hit with a M-shaped completion, locally speaking, you were hit with a deep Gartley. Not quite an 886, but close enough, right? Your 786 is right over here, look. So there's your 786. So we know what Gartley was completed, right? Gartley, deep Gartley was hit. So you have an M shape, and you have another M shape completing at the M shape, and now you have local high lows, resistance being flipped to support. As long as you're above this mid right over here, right? In fact, to make this easier for you guys, let me do it with this instead, so you have a line in the sand. If anyone wants to trade Ethereum, one simple line in the sand would honestly be just 2,125. As long as you're above 2,125, you have a shot at higher prices, because you are at resistance currently attempting to be turned into support. If you get back below that, I would pretty much look for a stab back into this area right over here. Maybe a raid that gives you lower low in price, higher low in RSI, right? That will eventually give us seller absorption on a bigger scale to take us upwards. But just understand where we sat at Ethereum. These are areas where we can't be surprised by a bigger move, right? They could send this all the way back up to like 2.8, 2.9, 3, and it would still be bearish. It would still be bearish. You would go right back into the middle of this consolidation range, turn it to resistance, and then they could send it down even lower from there, right? But that doesn't mean there's no money to be made on a potential move up to that area. So that, you know, looking at charts and looking at where we are, it's important to consider that, right? But that is Ethereum. Again, if I look at ETH in terms of volume, let's take a look. If I do the same thing once, yeah, that's too much. Let's do 100. Jesus, that's lagging. 1 sec. Let's do it. All of a sudden, this is. Where is the daily buyer seller zone that I was looking at on ETH? Let's see if I can find it. Should be here. I think it's this one. There you go, yeah. That's that one right there. And again, you know, it used to be all of this. Point of control below you, that's a good sign. We have aggressive selling going on, but look where the most of the aggressive selling happened, right? Below you, you have 49,910 Ethereums being aggressively sold versus 28,055 being aggressively longed in this particular area here. The POC being at, in fact, if I get a bit more coverage on this, I would say 500 is probably a better line to go for. There we go. 2,117.5, somewhere around there. So as long as this area here is support, you're looking for longs. This, I'm talking specifically lower time frame traders here, but you can do this even with just a spot back for a higher time frame, right? Or you can take a spot back and trade it on the lower time frame. Anything's possible. Just got to use your imagination a bit. But as long as that is support, that point of control, we do technically have seller absorption above the point of control, right? Or rather below the point of control, because they're saying anyone that's shorted there is trapped. If we look at the 4-hour candles and such now, any other signs? Aggressive selling being rewarded. Attempted initiation, but nothing too strong. So these candles are kind of like, when you have a candle like this, you can view it as a range, right? You have this very aggressive candle. You have this very aggressive candle, and the following candles are just inside. So remember, this is one of the things we went over in the TPO session. We call these inside days, right? This is what we call inside days. So inside days, nothing crazy is happening, right? If you look at this, most of your time spent is literally smack back in the center. Nothing crazy is happening. It's a well distributed chart. So this is what we call an inside day, i.e. that 4-hour candle, I know it's not a full day, but like let's say inside 4 hour, whatever you want to call it, until either the high or the low gets taken, there's no trade to be had basically. The edge either comes in taking that liquidity, and then you see that, okay, when you take that liquidity, sell it once again to control, because if that happens, you can expect a flush back down, right? Or taking that liquidity lower, and then if you reclaim that area, you look for the move back up. Look for continuation, right? Because if the reclaim doesn't happen on either side, right? So if this doesn't happen, this flip, or this doesn't happen, the failed retest, you're looking for this. Hang on, let me see if I can turn this settings. Where's the settings for this? White, right? There we go. So what I was talking about was this, right? You have two options. In the middle is a no trade zone, right? It's a no trade zone because you can see you have no edge inside here, right? In relation to this strong high volume candle, you have no edge. Look at the volume, look at the volume, look at the volume. There's your high volume candle, right? In relation to your high volume candle, which is, we know volume matters, you have no edge when you're inside it because either side hasn't been taken. Quick tip and trick. But if you see a flip, you have a long opportunity. If you see this, you have a short opportunity. Plus, if you see this, you have a short opportunity. If you see this, you have a long opportunity. It looks a bit close because of the time frame we're on. But basically, if you get a successful breakdown from this, you're looking for continuation. Simple. If you're looking for a successful breakout from here, you're looking for a retest to go long. Simple as that. That's it. Right? If you see a raid of the highs with no follow through, that's your short opportunity. If you see a raid of the lows with no follow through, that's your long opportunity. So those are the 4 particular plays when you have a candle like this. Quick tip and trick for you. That's midnight. Close above the mid. Nice. Just a load of selling, but that selling hasn't been able to like revisit these point of controls. Yeah, let's see. But that's Ethereum. Basically, don't fade it. If you see things like this, if you actually genuinely want to take a shot, like you have opportunities to take a shot, right? Something as simple as this would still be a shot taken. Like, you want tight RR, there you go. And just take the play. Like, ultimately, you'd be looking for the first and foremost, just look for a low of this, right? That buyer zone. So can you get above? You can see all the confluence in this area. Buyer zone, buyer seller zone. That'd be your first target. If you get above that, then the mid, right? It's a nice potential play, right? 2% drawdown versus a potential like 42% move up. If final target hits somewhere around here, right? First target hits a 25% move up. It's areas like this where you make that decision, where you pay attention and actually pull the trigger if you see what you're looking for. And just keep it tight, honestly, just keep it tight. In these market conditions, don't look for wide stop losses, just keep it tight, I think. I'd rather you guys take a hit quickly but lose little amount, right, and be in cash and then just try again. And the next time you get the same opportunity, then just be holding in the red praying, oh, I hope this isn't it and we get further breakdown. Because in this market conditions, you do not want to be in that position. Sol, let's take a look, same thing, right? There's all of this one is boring as hell, bro. Look at this trash, man. This is the weekly. What is this, right? It's just boring as fuck. Look at it, it's trash. If anything, you could argue this is bear flagging. It's going to take us down lower. Like for Sol, I also pointed out the for a higher time frame target. I believe I did it. Should be here, but I'll just redraw it again. It's fine. It's the ABCD. 5-point wave structure is way too 1.272. It's way too clean to ignore. This would be a godsend. 786 1.272. There we go. Around $50 something. Yeah. This is the only, because I know Sniper, bro Sniper was asking me what I see on Sol. I don't see any good wave structures on Sol. It's the only one I see, around 52.37. Would be nice if we got it. Probably get this, probably like a little drive lower to like 1.4 and 4 or something. And then after that, see what kind of reaction we get. But Sol very. If I explain one, right now price action is such, I've explained all of them, right? Same thing with Sol. You're attempting to turn some support into resistance, some resistance into support, however you want to see it, right there, right? But the actual main area I was interested in is you add a daily fair value gap right now, is whatever. Why did I draw that? Not needed. Even this, that 1 hour, not needed right now. The one I'd be eyeing is genuinely just this. Like, what kind of reaction are you going to get over here? Daily buy seller zone. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Below everything. Now, let me try and figure out the reason. Is this on Sol an important area? What's 10 going to give me? Yeah, that's good. Solana. I mean, like I said, the daily fair value gap has been filled, as you can see, right? That's the daily fair value gap. You're trying to hold the low. And if I'm not mistaken, one more thing is I think many things are hitting the daily 50-day moving averages. Yeah, so Sol is retesting, and currently it's a successful retest of its 50-day moving average, of its force compressing. It's alright. Once compressing. 3-day, everything's above you. Weekly, everything's above you. So basically, one of the hope is the daily 50 is being retested as support. So, you know, again, literally one way you could, if you wanted to bid some of this, would be if the daily 50 is lost, you exit, right? You could do that. But this buy zone here that I've marked out right over here, if you can sort of go into there and it holds, you can think of that like a range mid for this area almost. But apart from that, it's like this is not gonna really send until you just take a look to the left, right? It's not really gonna send until you get above this like 95.26 area. Above that, we get 118 to 124. Below that, we're just gonna get more of this absolute slop of price action. Terrible to look at. Just grinding my gears, right? Just slow, boring. But it's the bear market, it's to be expected. But yeah, let's take a look how this develops, because this could easily be a bear flag. Right, that's the problem with all of these. This could easily be bear flags. But again, on the move up, you know, 117 would be lovely. Like going into this consolidation structure to recheck, that'd be lovely. So yeah, let's see. But honestly, just get your higher time frame buy seller zones, right? And then get some lower time frame ones like the 4 hours, the daily, if you want to scalp, and just use those. You don't need much. You can see how tight of a range it is right over here. There's so much liquidity to be taken to the downside versus the upside. And just like Bitcoin, right? Literally just like Bitcoin, look what we've gone to. We've gone straight to weekly buy seller zone, rejected off the low, right? Insane. So much work that needs to be done for us to go higher. Which is why it's just like, you know, there's hardly any place to give, right? It's such a low liquid environment. If you're trading lower time frame, it's like obviously it's always a different story on the lower time frame, because you're gonna get more areas to execute. But again, it's when lower time frame trading is still going to be better in high liquid environments, right? But yeah, as you can see, everything still looks the same. It looks shit, and if indices do roll over and fall, all of these are going to go with it, right? It's what it is. I see no feasible reason why crypto would hold up should the S&P get a drawdown, should any of the, should NAS get a drawdown, should we get a move up on oil, so on and so forth. SUI, same thing. Like, it's nice, right? Look at the structure, 1.61 macro. That's a macro crab completed, and you're going sideways, just no reaction yet. Lower to higher point of control in terms of volume. So from this low to this high, I believe it's either this low to this high or just a macro low to the high. One of those, the point of control is literally where we sat above. It's just there's no bids coming in. It's tight. But I'll just play everything where we currently are, like I was talking about, as the range, right? There's your range, and if the range lows are rated or the range highs are flipped, to take a shot, or you take a shot at the range mid, quick RR1. Don't do anything mid range. It's just gonna grind your money out slowly. This would be the playbook. If they give you a nice range, just take it. Range trading is a blessing, right? Tau looks nice, and I saw something today about Tau where it was, I think that the CEO of Nvidia was talking about it, which is quite nice. The entry last given for Tau was 162. I was literally saying, look, if 2024 low holds, you just get in, put your hard stop below those wicks, and your invalidation manual is if 2024 low gets turned to resistance, you just exit, right? That is up about 84% at peak since then, so this was a nice move on Tau. But can it sustain is the question. They have a really nice chance here to do this. Really nice chance to put in a smiley face, and in this case it would be a head and shoulders. After taking range lows, I would 100% love to see a smiley face here. That'd be crazy, right? You flip that, you got a nice move up. But yeah, for higher time frame, Tau will be one of my biggest crypto bags. It's too good to ignore, right? XMR I'm still looking at as well. You know, that one I was talking for years this cycle before he had his crazy move up. But yeah, Fed, another one, right? Still look where we are. There's still many opportunities, right? If you actually want to just buy and hold spot, you couldn't ask for better opportunities. Like, if you don't care about what your port does over the next coming months, you care about it like you're holding till the next bull cycle, so on and so forth. You couldn't ask for better areas to manage risk. Just a few cryptos, but you know, wanted to look at that. Like I say, bro, like this thing's gone and just rolled over. Like, yes, it looks shit, it looks terrible, but again, look where you are. It's so easy to manage your risk around like this area. Like, it's insanely easy. If you want a hard stop right now, it's simple. You just put it below that. I do have a feeling it will get raided because of those three higher things. Typically those get taken, right? But it's generally just around this. As long as you're not getting, you get a close below this, just exit and just re-enter again when you get above. There's no point risking holding at a drawdown that could wipe you out, right? But if this manages to hold, like, yes, it looks shit. There's no reason to be looking at this as a serious investment, but we're not in crypto because we believe everything is going to be serious. Let's be honest, 99% of us got into crypto because we wanted to catch the 100x, right? This is the kind of area where those dreams are made of, because all it needs is some sort of narrative bid. All it needs is something bullish to happen to it, right? And all of a sudden, even like a 500% move doesn't seem that crazy. If you don't believe me, look at many charts that have done this in the past, right? It'd be, you know, even if not a 500x, like this would be another level high, give you a nice 300 to 400% returns, 380, right? And it would still be bearish, another level high to distribute. But it's not about how high it can go. I don't care about how high it goes. It's more about how easy is it for you to offset your losses, right? Can you manage your risk? That's the important question down at these lows, and it's so easy to do that where you currently are. Many things you can look at. Look at this structure on Tube. Told me it doesn't look beautiful, right? TA. After that, it's just price action correlation, and next thing you know, things are all of a sudden they're starting to go up. So Tube's another one. LTC's another one. All at M-shaped completions on the macro. Like, how many times have I done macro harmonic streams at pivotal moments in the market? Just for a few months later, we've seen insane reactions of them, right? It's all about risk management. That's all it's about. That's what I'm preaching to you guys. Everything else will just follow suit. Aptos, I'm just waiting for a serious reclaim of $1. Right now we keep rejecting off it, but I don't actually think we're gonna go that much lower from this. Like, could be famous last words, but I would want to see a strong reclaim of the dollar here, some sort of base for me to consider taking some positions in this. Even from here, just to here, you can make a lot of money. So that's some of that. And Chamath, okay. Oh shit, okay, let me take a look at this. One sec. Try to chart on footprint, Binance, BTC, let's see it. Oh, what is this, bro? Because I see the divided by 8 at the end. So this is the perpetual one, obviously. It says that this isn't spot. Composition was ooh, Tandem Diabetes. That's smiley face confirmation. Tandem looks good, boys. It looks good. Tandem looks good. You get above this on the 2 weeks, you're gonna fly. Monthly 618. I gotta look at the football. Ooh, look at that daily. Good gap fill. Oh man, that's a nice gap fill as well. The gap fill's been done. Not all of it, but the mid. Gap fill done. Resistance, resistance. The easy bit would be just that zone flip. The support, you get that to run it towards this, and then after that is glorious targets on Tandem. Keep an eye on Tandem, boys. This looks good. You get above 34,382. 61866 is what I'll be aiming for next. Command per footprint. What is the divided by 8 do, if you don't mind me asking? Because I see like the /8. No, I'm just trying to make like logical sense of the actual ticker, because I'm guessing we add all of them together because you want the combined volume for all of them, or are you trying to get an average based off those 8? Because if you're trying to get the average, I guess the divided by 8 makes sense. But if you're trying to get the total volume, wouldn't you just do all of that without the divided by 8? I mean, we can test it, right? One sec, let's take a look. Where's it gone? If it doesn't divide the volume, then that is really good news. So if I switch this over to this, oh come on kid, one sec. I'll just put it really high first. I need to look at Tandem, before I forget. 1000, and then I go to this. Okay, so volume wise we're in the billions. Billion. Now if I was to do what you did without the divided by 8, so I just do this, because if it doesn't divide the volume, that's fine. Okay, let's try that. Well, that makes sense, right? Okay, no, the volume's not divided. That's good then. Okay, so I get the divided by 8. Okay. It doesn't have an effect on the actual volume. I was just worried that it would also slash this by 8, but it doesn't, so that's fine. So basically it's just to maintain that, it's just to read the price back down for the additions. Okay, that makes sense. Perfect. Thank you, bro. That's good. So you can get like a macro idea basically of where they sat throughout the exchanges. And if you take a look at it in that terms, like look, we've taken the most obvious cluster of liquidity we have. Like the next ones are down here or all the way up over here. There is no edge where we currently are on Bitcoin. That is what I'm trying to say, right? When we're looking at it over here. In fact, let me move this up here. There is no obvious edge in. The only thing I can see is this moving average. Right? So let's see what happens. I'm just going to be a bit more patient in this area. Right, let me quickly look at the tandem footprint. Jesus, most low volume, huh? What the shit? Yo, is this a small cap stock? Because if it's a small cap and it's medical, bro, these things can fly, huh? Recipe for success. One sec, let me pull tandem up to here. Yeah, I mean, bro, this. Listen, I don't know fundamentally what this thing's gonna do, but bro, in terms of TA, like I can't ignore this. This looks. Look at the structure, right? M-shaped completion with a shark, 886. Another M-shaped completion. There's your bats and your 2.620. We've got the smiley face, right? There's the smiley face. Yes, not a perfect fill, doesn't matter. That's your retest of the zone, right? We're talking, this is the PRZ. You've got a smiley face on the zone. You would just have a stronger argument if you got a deeper fill, but it's still a smiley face, like you hit the exponential. So now what we need is this. Honestly, like this looks good, boys. I'm gonna put an alert in this bastard right around the mid right here, just so I'm constantly pinged and annoyed. Somewhere around the mid. So I just want to know every time we try to get above that particular level or get below it. Because above this, you know, this thing could be green. Take that out. Take these out. Right there's your $59.65 target. Right, tandem. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on this, and we'll, as we do more streams, we'll keep on, you know, looking at this one, see how it develops. But that looks good, tandem. Yeah, I mean, it's not like the number of, this is probably going to offend some people, but it's not like the number of fat people in the world are decreasing, right? So, I mean, it sounds bad, but there's a fundamental case right there for why a diabetes company would perhaps get some bids. Right, hymns, BTQ, take, Iron, all of that's fine. Okay, let's look at some of the ones that my bro Rai put down. Yeah, no, thanks for jumping in, bro. Tip. It was lovely talking to you, man. It's been a while. Yeah, see you soon, brother. Okay, let's take a look. What I'll do is I'll add all of those. NAUT. Okay, so NAUT. Nautilus Biotechnology. I think I might have. Ooh. I like that. Come on, baby. What's this? What you doing? Okay, let's take a look. Okay, one sec. Log. Log. The first breakout retest I'd be interested in right now is this area here. It's already done it on linear, obviously, but on log it hasn't. And for long-term breakouts, log is powerful, right? We want to consider log. Another thing is, of course, ski. Come on, bro. Oh, damn, one sec. Let me. It's not the proper one. Smack bang at the 0.5. Golden pocket back into support. And I believe we have seller zone mid right over here. So on log, we have a crystal clear area right now that we want to be support before we go higher. And that is this one right here. $2.77 to $2.73. If we can flip that into support, we're looking for $3.08 minimum. And this time around, I'd argue you have a shot at $3.58 even. So that's easy. This one's like super easy to manage risks on, to be honest. Super easy. On linear, you're just waiting for a flip at 275. And on log, this zone being support is what's going to propel you to take, if you take this out successfully, that's the area I'd look for. Between 358 to 395. Which might not look like a big move, but that's because we're on log, right? It's still like a 40% move basically that we're talking about here. And you know, if you look at linear actual liquidity wise, you should be talking this minimum. So yeah, I'd wait for the flip. It's not flipped yet, but that right there is the flip I'd look for NAUT. Okay, that's number one. IBRX, let's take a look. Immunity Bio. It's always these medical stocks, man. This one looks good, bro. What the fuck? How'd you find these, bro? How'd you find these? Okay, let's take a look. First pulling out tickers I don't know exist. Right. No, this looks. I was gonna say this looks relatively new, but it's not. It's from 2016. But that yearly? That yearly though. There's something glorious about that. I mean, that has the potential to be a nasty M shape, but they messed it up for us with this continuous sell-off here. So no M shape for us there, unfortunately. And I hate it when they do that. It's like they're purposefully doing that. They know. Am I on log? Yes, I am. That makes sense. Okay, I was sorry, that's my bad. Okay, let me make sense of this. Where is the key area? We have one right here. Just gonna throw some down, one sec. Smack bang in the middle of that, I mitigate a liquidity pocket. In fact, let me just do that for now. There's an important area for us to manage our risks around straight away. Okay, well, I mean, I think it's pretty clear what needs to be done here. There we go. You are talking, I would not enter where we currently are, for obvious reasons. Look what you're up against. But should you do this and get above, this is the range you're working with, and that range as a total, even just from the top of this, but realistically from the mid of this, is 111%. But if you're just talking the actual range itself, is basically a 2x range, right, from the low to the high. Your first stop off point is the mid. Above the mid, your second stop off point is the high there. That's literally just historic price action. When I'm showing you guys this, I want to keep it as simple as possible, right? To begin with, and if we actually enter the trade, I will give you more technical reasons behind where we can go, how to TP, invalidation, so on and so forth. But keep it simple to actually get an idea. Just take a look. Below this, we don't want to be in this. We don't. And yes, while we're attempting to flip it into support, for me, you guys know one boundary I have is that mid needs to be flipped, right? For me to be taking something seriously. The mid is not yet flipped. But should we flip that mid, then you have a shot of flipping this, and that $10.10 flip, when that happens, pit stop number one, support resistance, support resistance. You get above that mid, pit stop number two is right here. This looks beautiful, and I would actually argue, if I've given you guys a area to consider below, I can give you an area to consider above as well. The area to consider above is simply just this right over here. If you get above this, you might grab liquidity from 20 to 21 before collapsing back down within this range again, right? So there's the actual range. There's the area you might raid liquidity in, right? There. Very nice liquidity raid area here in, God knows that, in red. There you go, right? But But yeah, you're just waiting to get above. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to add an alert somewhere around the mid of this. There you go. Again, add an alert on this IBX. And this looks good, bro. Nice one. This looks good. Again, I'm personally not going to enter where we currently are. There's no RR for a long entry here. Even though it looks so good, it's technically speaking, you're brushing up right underneath support. We're not breaking above yet, right? So if we can get above that, this would look fantastic. Otherwise, you would read this up on a pullback on the anticipation of this breakout in the future. That's about it. That's a good one. LEU path SE. Okay, LEU. Centrus Energy. Yeah, I was looking at this one myself. This one's in my main stock one. I'll have to add these two as well. One sec, actually. Stocks. Stocks. LEU, I think, is very simple. This area is what you get above. Buy seller zone. You've rejected it. And if you want another entry, I would argue you could just do this. Keep it very simple. So there's two in black for buy seller zones together, and then this one I'm going to put in blue. This is just last year's stuff, okay? Macro read in seller zone there. So no matter how I look at it, to be honest, I mean, yeah, no matter how I look at it, you're below resistance. There's absolutely nothing to be had here, currently speaking. It's in free fall. Sure, there's a daily range, but you're below the levels you need to be. No signs of weakness on the sell side yet. You know, below, literally retesting underside retest as support back into resistance. Exponentials being moving averages back into resistance as well. Your best bet is to wait for this. If this reclaims, it's a good time to bid to try and take this out. If it doesn't reclaim, which is not right now, there's nothing to be done. I'll just wait for lower prices. Either reclaim or wait for lower on LEU. Who knows, if we're lucky, maybe we will get from the current. That's terrible. Come on, man. Yeah, no, Bond trying to make an end shape out of this right now. This 2.0. God no, I don't know if this would ever hit. I mean, I'm not going to say it would never hit, but I don't know how likely it is to hit currently. But I'm going to mark it out nonetheless. It's a potential target, just somewhere around there, right? It's a potential target based on that current lower high at the 0.5. Now we can go up here, put another macro lower high in, and then go lower. So I won't give this too much weight right now, just an idea until it happens, right? That's LEU. And path. That, oh my god, talk about low risk, huh? Talk about low risk. Damn. Lows rated. Shark hit by the looks of things. No, this is a rubbish shark. All ratios are off. Simple for this one. This is what you're after. of those, you know, you have a run to 15. You'll have local resistance, you'll struggle more, but ultimate like liquidity targets here, right there. That supply line is what I'd be aiming for. Basically, look at the yearly range. Look at how the yearly candles have closed. We have one seller zone right here, and then the another one is going to be at this high over here, basically. There we go. So don't need to put any macro reads or nothing on. Those would be the targets for us to go to. This one first. If you break out, you're targeting this. But if you're gonna enter, I would wait for that sort of flip of this to try and manage my risks around, right? Like go and turn this back into support right over here. This area, like smiley face it or something. Move up, smiley face, right? And then I'd play that smiley. Sort of like what happened here, right? Something like that. Smiley right there as well. Something like that's what I'd aim for. No, wait. Wait. Go forward. Put the box back on. Just delete that brush. I'm going to add an alert just above this. Just below this there. Getting into the habit of doing that. Path. And last but not least, we have SE. C Limited. It's already in stocks. Path. Bottom one. Bottom one. This one is one of the uglier charts. Let's give it some extra confluence for this region. Support approaching just below us. Macro read. Yeah, support's below us. No matter how we look at it, it's below us. This cluster right over here. Yeah, there's nothing to say. This one's ugly. No structure, no nothing, just a big sell-off. So I'd wait until we have something warranting some sort of action for us to look at it, because right now it doesn't have that. Yeah, and this one's not, can't really plan this one right now, bro. It's in the middle of a free fall, below all moving averages, no structure to be seen, nothing. Yeah. So this one, I think, still needs more time to cook. Okay, so that's all the ones you put up, bro. There's some good ones in there, man. Nice, brother. Yeah. Yeah, they're worthwhile. They're really worthwhile. This one has potential if it can get above. IBRX would be the best one in my opinion, if you can get above the area we're talking about. INFQ, let's look at this one. Okay, bottom. Okay, sell down below. I can't wait for this one to bottom out. Like I was saying, INFQ, I wouldn't be surprised if it does nothing for a little while, because this is quantum computing, right? It's quantum computing. It's not a narrative, big one right now. But I'm forward looking. I think quantum computing will be a narrative in the future. I'll give it a few years. So I'm just going to be building some bags for that in mind, right? So I don't expect these bags to outperform anytime soon. But I will be looking for just, you know, steady DCAs into some of these, and then of course adding size when we actually get TA structure on our side as well. But quantum computing, I don't expect, like, you know, many quantum computing stocks to do any sort of crazy moves right now. It's just not a narrative, right? But I think it will be. So one last thing I want to do before I end the stream is look at Tandem again. Tandem. I'm going to keep an eye on this. I've got an alert set up. It's not popping off now. If I go to daily, it should give me post market. Yeah, okay, post market is not exactly bullish right now, so yeah, nothing to be had yet. But again, keep an eye on this one, guys. Tandem looks interesting. And okay, SoFi, I forgot to do this one. The reason I was looking at this one, guys, right, and I tagged you guys to see if you could see what I was seeing, was number one, in terms of key levels, right, you know, we're at the 618 of the macro, so on and so forth, the usual stuff, right? Usual for us anyway, not for most people, but usual for us. So I like the area where it's at, and especially when I give the ping, right, obviously we didn't have this big red candle breaking below, we were literally here, right, at this level, and on the 4 hours during that time, if I'm not mistaken, we had, not Tandem, where is it, SoFi, we were having a nice seller absorption going on. Take a look at this. Huge amount of selling pressure, right? 10.17 million. Look at the normal volume, and then look at what came in this candle, and look how you closed, right? So there was nice selling pressure going on, and what you've done is you've gone and retested that candle value low is held. So if we get a decent open tomorrow, SoFi could get a nice little reaction off this. SoFi could get a nice reaction, which is why I really like this one. And again, if you take a look at the 4 hours, it's like, what was the liquidity at? Either you drop it to $9 or it's above you, right? So I do like where we are. Look, resistance, right? Resistance. As long as this zone flips to support, you're literally saying this area where we had seller control, we had distribution going on before, has turned into support. I want to see bullish divergence build up, right? Which is it's been building up, and you know, SoFi is that area where it could get a nice little pop up in the future if it holds, and buyers defend this level. So that's why I'm keeping an eye on this one as well. Right, that was a fairly long stream today, guys. How long was it? It was around 1 hour 21 minutes. Actually, that's not long for us at all. I think I'm just tired. But this is, you know, again, XT, what a banger, right? This was such a banger. Very happy with this. The lemonade short, right? We already cooked with this, so it's been a very profitable year so far. And this is what I mean. It's just like, you know, less is more. You don't need to be in a million trades. Just take a few high conviction plays. Again, the lemonade short was called live on a stream like this, right? I even put it on YouTube. XT, I gave it to you guys in advance, like, okay, this is the level I'm looking at, this is the scenario, this is with the entry trigger, this is with invalidation, everything was given. Just take a few, you don't need to be in many at once, just size up on a few decent like setups that you see, and that's it. Coinbase, give me higher, give me like support back over here, would be nice. Oh, UPS going for deep retrace, but I do not mind that at all. UPS is another one. I know we haven't gone over it today, but this has had a trend shift. We're just waiting for a higher low, guys, okay? On UPS. If we don't get the high low, don't enter. But if we see structure, running structure after this, and we see the selling off is diminishing, that's a potential high low. That's a potential break above. So you want to watch that. BA1 was a cook, 63% move up from this low we gave with Sol. So yeah, we've had a lot of stock cooks. Anbis, right, we talked about this already, but Anbis is another one that had a crazy nice move up. Where is this in stocks? I didn't. Yeah, Anbis is one. 65% up from that entry given, right? Given using footprint charts. So this thing, please price discovery soon. Send it to 181 is what I'm hoping for. This was given the same time as IREN, right? But yeah, that'll be it from me today, guys. I'm going to end this recording here. If you guys have any questions, just put it in crypto chat. And I will see you guys soon, okay? Let me end this here. Stop recording. Oh, yeah, stop recording.